Hello and welcome to my latest video on PSYCH-MAN. So today we're going to learn a little bit about what is metacognition. So you may have heard about this word before, or in some places you would have thought stumbling about your own thoughts and thinking about it. So what is metacognition? So we know the word meta simply means something which is beyond or something which is higher than the comprehension of the normal world, or sometimes we call it metaphysics. So in here, meta simply means something which is higher, and cognition simply means thinking, right? Or anything related to mind, thinking, decision making, so on and so forth. So that is what metacognition is. So you can, in a way, say that it's a higher level of thinking. So meta simply means higher or something which is beyond, and cognition simply means everything related to thinking, decision making, and executive function of the brain. So let us look at the definition of metacognition, how we can define it in the most simplest term. Metacognition simply is thinking about thinking. So when you think about something, and when you realize that I'm thinking it in a particular way, and you look at it and you feel like this is the way I'm thinking is because of my upbringing or something which is upsetting me in a way, and I'm thinking negatively about something, or something which is, if I think about someone mostly positively, and I think, why am I thinking like that? Then I would see that I have general biases towards that person, which are good in nature. So that's why I'm thinking like that. So metacognition simply is thinking about thinking. And you can also say knowing about knowing and becoming aware of one's own awareness. When you became aware of how you're thinking, why you're thinking, the way you're thinking, simply means that you're in a stage of metacognition. The term comes from the root word meta, as I told you before, which means to further or on to top, or you can just say which means higher or something which is beyond, or higher level of thinking is nothing but metacognition. So metacognition involves two basic components, right? So it has the component of knowledge about the cognition and regulation of the cognition. Now, this concept was first introduced by John Flavell. He is seen as the founder of this field. So he actually founded this field in a way by introducing the concept of metacognition. He stated that metacognition is the knowledge people have about their own cognitive processes. If I'm thinking about something which is really close to my heart, and I am really emotionally attached to it, and I feel sad if somebody makes fun of the thing that I'm emotionally attached to it, and I understand the reason why I am feeling sad or depressed or upset by it is simply because of the fact that I understand the way I'm thinking about it. If I don't understand the way I think about it, I'm just going to feel upset, and I'm going to be feeling more depressed again and again. But if I know it, then there are more likely chances that I might feel upset, but I know how to resolve that conflict. Now, certain elements of metacognitions are given below. One of it is metacognitive knowledge. So what is metacognitive knowledge? So we need to understand what is metacognitive knowledge and how it is differing from metacognitive regulation. So metacognitive knowledge refers to what individual knows about their own metacognitive process. This is simply means that how much I know, what am I thinking about, right? And about different approaches that can be used for problem solving, about the requirement and the condition for successfully completing the task. So if there is a task in front of you, if there is a problem, and we know everybody faces problems in their daily life, and we have to, in a way, effectively deal with those problems. So metacognitive knowledge simply means that how much knowledge do I have about the problem or the task in front of me, and how can I successfully complete that task by applying the knowledge that I had. So if I'm going uh, uh, on a bus, right? So I need to have certain knowledge of where the bus is going to stop, what timing the bus is going to come on, and how long it's going to be the journey from the bus from point one to point B, what kind of condition the bus is in, does it has air conditioning or not. There are many things that play a vital role, and all these things are your knowledge about the problem and the task at hand. On the other way, metacognitive regulation mainly refers to the adjustment that individual makes in their cognitive processes to help manage and improve their learning. So it simply means that you're regulating your own knowledge in a way that you're adjusting to the novel environments or problems or things that you're going to be facing. So in a way, it's a learning process because you're regulating your own metacognitive knowledge, their own understanding of the problems and the behaviors that is going to come in front. So now metacognitive knowledge is further divided into three categories. So there are three types of categories in metacognitive knowledge. The first and the foremost is the person variable. Now this is a variable or a factor that plays a crucial role in metacognitive knowledge, right? So first is a person variable is what someone knows about his or her strengths or weaknesses in learning or processing information. Now, a person variable simply is an individualistic variable, right? If I know about my strengths and weaknesses, then I know how to apply them in a certain situation. If I'm weak at something, I know I couldn't complete that task more efficiently, right? But if I know about my strengths and I know how I can go forward with that task, so it really helps me complete that task much easier and faster. It's a person variable. It's an individualistic variable, and you know, and yeah, and you know about your own strength and weaknesses. Simply means if you know about your strengths and weaknesses, yeah, you have knowledge about your own metacognitive abilities, right? Then there is a strategic variable, and the last is a task variable. Now, strategic variables are strategies that a person is always ready to apply in various ways to accomplish a task. Example includes activating prior knowledge before studying a technical article, using glossaries to look for unfamiliar words, or realizing that a paragraph has to be read multiple times to be understood. These are simply means the strategies that a person applies to finish a task or to complete a complex task, right? Which also includes, for example, like activating prior knowledge for using a technical article or reading a technical article. If I'm reading a research article and there are certain words in the research articles that I have no knowledge about, I have to look it up on the Google, or I have to look it up on in a dictionary or in other papers which has defined those particular terms. So I'm using a kind of a strategy to complete that task or to understand the knowledge that I'm imparting from a particular technical article. On the other hand, if you're reading a paragraph, as to say, then I have to read it multiple times, to actually understand or get the crux of the paragraph. So this is a process in which you're applying a specific strategy to to complete that particular task or to get over or to solve that particular problem. The other variable, which is in a way a normalistic variable, is the task variable. Now, task variable is everything someone knows about the nature of a particular task and the requirement to perform that task. For example, that is knowledge that reading an academic article takes more effort to understand and remember than a passage from a novel. Simply means that if there's a task in front of you and you know that this task requires a particular set of skills, and the requirement to perform that task is really understanding the task variable. If I'm going to perform a running task, for example, if I'm a sprinter, so I know that the task variable for this particular problem or this particular task requires me to sprint really fast. And for me to sprint really fast, I need to train harder and get to that optimum level of speed. So this is a task variable, which particularly pertains to the knowledge requirement for the task to be completed. All right. So here is an example which is given. Is like when you read an academic article, you know that it's difficult to understand, And the task of reading an academic article is much harder than reading a passage from a novel, because the passage from a novel doesn't use the most rigorous scientific terminology that you need to be really understanding before reading any research article. Now, what are the elements of metacognitive knowledge, metacognitive regulation? I'm sorry. But first, we learn about what is metacognitive knowledge and what are the elements. There are personal variables, there are strategic variables, and there are task variables. Now, we got to understand a little bit about what is metacognitive regulation. As we know, there are different elements that are required for metacognitive regulation to take place. Like metacognitive knowledge, metacognitive regulation also includes some conditions, right? Or some skills that are essential. One of those skills is planning. So planning plays a very important role. Planning refers to the selection of the strategies and allocation of resources that influences the task performance. It simply means when you talk about metacognitive regulation, you must know what you must have a certain amount of planning before performing a task. If your planning is poor, like for example, if you're studying for an exam, and if you have a very um, poor planning and strategy, then most likely you're going to fail that exam, or you're going to score very low in that exam because your planning is not up to the mark. Now, selecting a good strategy and a proper allocation of resources is a sign of accurate planning in metacognitive regulation, the regulation process. It's the first thing in the metacognitive regulation process is to plan it well. The second thing is monitoring. So when you're planning, you have to monitor your performance, right? Monitoring refers to individuals' awareness of understanding and task performance. If I'm performing an examination and I'm preparing for it with strategy, I need to monitor my performance on a particular um, uh, mock drill, right, or a mock test. So I have to track my performance and monitor it. If my performance is not in a way um, improving, then it simply means that my planning has not been that good, or my execution of planning has not been that good. So they monitor their learning as a process step of metacognitive strategy. So it is important to monitor it. And the last step is to evaluate. If your planning is good, and if you're monitoring your own metacognitive regulation, then you have to evaluate your performance, or it is the end product of a particular task. If I prepare for an examination, I'm planning good, I have a proper good planning, and I'm monitoring my performance, then finally, when I take the examination and get the results out of it, I need to evaluate, right? So, how good I perform in that particular exam, or how good I perform in that particular task. The efficiency with which the task has been performed is also assessed. Like how efficiently was I able to deal with questions in the question paper, and how good was I at understanding it and actually giving accurate answers to it. So we know what is metacognitive knowledge, we know what is metacognitive revolution, and now we need to understand how we can actually um, make ourselves more aware of our own awareness through certain effective strategies that can be used for advancing in metacognition. The first strategy, and which is in a way the most basic, is self-questioning. So when I said that metacognition is nothing but the ability to thinking about our own thinking, simply means questioning your own self, right? Why am I performing certain tasks in certain ways? So you have to question yourself. What led me to a poor performance? Or what are my strengths in which I can make my performance on a particular task much better? So it is a self-questioning idea that needs to be taken out. The second is thinking out loud. So when you're thinking out loud, you're thinking most of the things out, and you're talking to yourself, thinking about it. How can I deal effectively with the task at hand? Third is visualization. Now, visualization is a way in which our mind processes different ideas, right? So whatever ideas we have, we visualize the process and the way and the procedures in which we will carry out. Like for an example, if I'm going to be driving a car, so I have to visualize which uh, things that I have to take in account before driving the car and how I'm going to drive that car. So that is visualization. Now, it helps in ordering your thoughts, like it gives you a balance, processing um, uh, level. It makes you understand and make you do things and make your thoughts more organized, making connection between things that they know, just like metacognitive knowledge is. The visualization process and procedures are different, right? There are many types. One is mind mapping, which simply means that you're mapping different ideas in your mind together to one effective idea. There are flow charts, which are used to understand different concepts and to understand the flow, the knowledge from one place to another. Now there are metacognitive learning styles. Okay, uh, theories of learning styles, such as Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, as we know, has more than eight different types of theories or aspects of intelligence, suggest that different people learn a different way. So those common ideas or different types of intelligence that is given by Gardner's multiple intelligence theories is visual intelligence, is auditory, which means your hearing capacity, kinesthetic, which means your bodily um, moments, logical and mathematical reasoning, interpersonal, which means your own relations with others, your social bondings. Interpersonal means your own relationship with oneself. Are you cynical about your oneself, or are you optimistic about oneself? So we got a few examples of metacognition. Okay, one of those is the ability to critically think about your own thoughts. If you have this ability to critically think about your own thoughts, then it simply means that you're involving in the process of metacognition. The self-awareness and control your own thoughts. If you know that you're thinking in a particular way, and whatever you're thinking is coming from some sort of understanding or knowledge that you had or experiences that you had, and you can control your thoughts in a way that if there are negative thoughts, you can control it and you can suppress it, not suppress it, but you can, you know, get rid of it in a way helps you understand more this metacognition. The ability to devise helpful strategies at each stage of tasks. So whenever there's a task or a problem that is happening, so your ability to actually deal with those tasks and you evolve your different strategies to deal at different stages of the task. So that's all today for metacognition. Do like, share, and subscribe my channel for more content like this on psychology, different topics related to psychology theories, and also research-based uh, critical analysis of psycho uh, uh, understanding of human behavior and different aspects. Thank you.